So fundamentalism for me, I don't know if I've still answered the question or not. It has to do with a view of the world and a view of scripture that ultimately there are certain truths that can never be questioned. Because if you shake that foundation, or if the foundation is removed, it's like the image of, three legs of a stool, and if you take one leg off, the whole stool is going to collapse. That's the idea of foundationalism, that there's this structure in place, and these ultimate truths that can never be questioned are the reason that they can't be questioned is if you start taking pillars out from under the foundation, the whole thing's going to crumble. It's a slippery slope. And so, which is a fear-based kind of thing, actually. So, so fundamentalism at its core is about the foundational ideas of the faith, whatever that might be, to whatever sect might say, well, this is our foundation. And another sect might say, well, this is our foundational truth. And those truths can't be questioned. And then after that foundationalism, there comes the need for the group to control whether or not those foundations can be questioned. And when people ask the wrong questions or express their faith in the wrong way or wear the wrong thing or hang out with the wrong group or drink the wrong beverage, then they're bucking the authority figure in the system. And if you do that for too long, you'll be ostracized from the group. And so the way that a fundamentalist group protects itself is by fear, by shame, by guilt, and by othering those who it deems to be outside the norms of the system, which is built on unquestionable truth claims.
Yeah, you're beyond the pale, then you're outside the circle, whatever. And they get to define the circle, don't they?
Yeah, they get to define the circle.
They draw the circle.
And it seems, at least in the stream of origin from my own upbringing, this group, the Southern Baptists, it seems that that circle keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah, more exclusive.
And more exclusive, because if one of the things of fundamentalism is it by default is combative and must have an enemy.
Yeah, it's militant.
It's militant. Fundamentalism
from
is
the
militant.
beginning.
It cannot live at peace. And if there is peace, it'll make trouble.
It'll pick a fight with somebody.
It'll pick a fight just because it's the nature of the beast. And so all of those things together for me make up what I would call fundamentalism. And it's more than just a particular set of beliefs about God or the Bible. It's a way of approaching life. It's a way of approaching the divine or human spirituality, if you want to call it that.
Call it a worldview, a mentality. See, I came to it from the more, I guess, the historical context. Well, it's interesting. You took more of a philosophical approach to it. When I was doing my doctoral dissertation, I did it on the book of Ezekiel. I was an Old Testament guy. And when I was studying the history of the interpretation of the book of Ezekiel, that's when I came across, you go through that time period where liberal theologians were kind of dissecting the book and taking it apart piece by piece and throwing out large sections of it. And then sort of around the end of the 19th century, early 20th century, there came a reaction to that in the form of fundamentalism. And like you say, the conservative movement, you see it in biblical studies and theological studies and so forth, where
the pendulum swung against Schleiermacher.
Yep.
And that whole bunch. And then people like Barth came out.
The neo-orthodox theologians.
Correct.
And, the pendulum swung to, hard to the right, hard back to the left, hard back to the right. And the fundamentalist movement came along and said, no, we need to nail these things down. The fundamentals, that's what the name really goes
fundamentals
back to.
Of the faith.
Yeah, we need to nail down what are 5, 10, however many you want to pick. Moses wrote the Pentateuch and whatever, deity of Christ and the virgin birth, and there's a couple of other ones in there. And if you don't believe those things, you
resurrection, the return of Christ.
Yeah, the bodily return of Christ.
Yeah. And here's another problem with fundamentalism, in my view, by the way, is if you could reduce the basics of faith down to 5 things, maybe that would be okay. But the nature of fundamentalism is is every belief we espouse becomes an essential belief.
Exactly.
And you know, it's sometimes attributed to Augustine, the idea or the saying that in essentials unity, in non-essentials charity, and in all things love. And maybe I butchered that, but it's the idea that you know, people of goodwill and good faith are going to agree to disagree on some things of the faith. But the problem with fundamentalism is it makes all beliefs essential. And so if you don't subscribe to every little piece of the doctrine that we hold to be true, then you're out.
Yep, you're gone. Yep, you're a pariah or whatever.